It's Nedarim. And we have Vav Hey. I'll get this out of here. Thank you for sending the name of that park, the dairy farm. I like goat cheese. I've had it a number of times. We went to a place up in the, I don't know if it was the north you call it really, but it was I mentioned the name of the place, you would know right away. But before I went to enter where the road I thought was, it was this big red sign with white letters, like, do not even think about it, you know, like kind of thing. So I said to my wife, I think we should make a U-turn and go back and redo our steps. You know,
like entering area A or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, like, okay. Vav Hey. One who makes a neder prohibiting the milk is permitted way. Rabbi Yossi, however, forbids it. The way he is permitted milk. Abba Shaul says one who makes a neder prohibiting the cheese is forbidden it, whether it is salted or unsalted. One who makes a neder prohibiting meat is prohibited meat juice and jellied meat juice. Rabbi Yehuda, however, forbids them. Said Rabbi Yehuda, it happened that Reb Tarfon forbade me the eggs which were cooked with it. They said to him, it is true. When? At a time that he says, this meat to me, because one who prohibits a thing with a neder and it mixes with another thing, if there is enough to give a flavor, it's forbidden. And one who makes a neder prohibiting wine is permitted a cooked dish, which has a taste of wine in it. If he said, this wine with respect to my tasting it, and it fell into a cooked dish, if it is enough to give flavor, it is forbidden. One who makes a neder prohibiting grapes is permitted wine. Even if he makes a neder prohibiting olives, he is permitted olive oil. If he said, konam these olives and grapes with respect to my tasting them, he is forbidden them and what comes from them. Okay, good.
Oh, okay. Hanodeh min hatamarim. The same sort of deal as before. If his neder is of the category of dates, mutar b'dvash tamarim, he is permitted date honey. Min has-sitvanios. Sitvanios are autumn grapes. Mutar b'chometz sitvanios. He's permitted the vinegar of the autumn grapes. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beser omer kol sheshem toladato karuya alav b'noder hemenu aser af b'yotze hemenu. So Rabbi Yehuda ben Beser says no. These two cases are different because honey, dates and date honey has got the name of date on it, and therefore it should be forbidden to him. Similarly, autumn grape vinegar is got the name of autumn grapes on it. If he's taken a neder from that, he's also assur to that. So Rabbi Yehuda ben Beser is more machmir. Chachamim matirin. Now, what is Chachamim matirin? Why is Chachamim not the same as the Tanakama? So Chachamim are different from the Tanakama because the Gemara explains that the Chachamim are talking specifically about Sitvaniot here, the autumn grapes, because according to the Tanakama, he said explicitly that if he prohibited Sitvaniot to himself, he's mutter of vinegar of Sitvaniot, of the autumn grapes. Okay, but he's assur to the grapes themselves. The Chachamim say no, it's exactly ponfoket. They say that the grapes themselves are rarely eaten by themselves. They are typically turned into vinegar. That's what because they're lower quality grapes. So sitvaniot, when people talk about sitvaniot, they're talking about the vinegar from the sitvaniot. But the grapes themselves are not in the cloud. So therefore, ironically, according to Chachamim, if he takes a neder from autumn grapes, then he's allowed to eat autumn grapes, but he's not allowed to eat their vinegar. Okay, so those are your three opinions that you have finished. Hanodeh min hayayin. If somebody takes a neder from wine, mutar b'yayin tapuchim, he's allowed apple wine. Min hashemen, if he takes a neder from shemen, from oil, he's mutar b'shemen shumshmin. He's allowed to have sesame oil.
How is that different from the preceding Mishnah?
Well, okay, so now the previous Mishnah is talking about assuring an object and are its derivatives also prohibited, even if they've got a shem levai, even if they're called by the same name as what they were originally called. So before that, we were talking about just derivatives without having a name. Now we're talking about derivatives that have the same name, and now we're talking about a category and other things that also technically are called shemin or are called yayin, but they're not the kind of shemen or yain that people talk about. When, like if you bring a nice bottle of, if your friend says, I'll bring you a nice bottle of wine, and he turns up with apple wine, you say, that wasn't what I was expecting. Yeah, it's not the same.
Right. Okay.
I'm sure apple wine is very nice, but in terms of the chashivas, wine is, when you're talking about wine, you're talking about grape wine.
I think I've seen in the store apple wine vinegar.
Apple vinegar.
Apple wine vinegar, maybe.
You'll see it. I think it's apple vinegar, not apple wine.
Apple vinegar, maybe.
Okay. If somebody takes an edit from honey, that doesn't include date honey.
Right.
If he it goes from vinegar, that doesn't include the autumn grape vinegar. Creation. Now, species. This is now actually a bit of a context switch, because now we're no longer talking about different words that could be included in the same category. Now we're talking about species and subspecies. So creation are leeks, and kaplotos are scallions. So they're similar. They're similar species. They look very similar, but they're not the same. And that's what the Mishna is telling us, is that if somebody takes a neder from leeks, he's permitted scallions. Mina yarak. If he takes a neder from vegetables, mutar yarkos hasadeh mipnei shehu shem levai. He is permitted wild vegetables, because those are called because it's a shem levai, because it's got an adjunct name. How do they translate shem levai in Art Scroll?
So it's permitted vinegar, permitted leeks with a head, vegetables. He's permitted vegetables because of an appellative.
Appellative, thank you. Appellative. And because it's only the regular vegetables, the garden vegetables that he's asked to have, but wild vegetables he's allowed to have.
No.
Okay. Mina kruv, from cabbage, asparagus. And it sounds so much like asparagus, but there's no way that it's really asparagus.
I was going to ask you that.
Okay, it's not. It can't be asparagus, because it's got to be. It's some kind of a cabbage.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So this asparagus is a subspecies of cabbage, which is why it's acid to him. Asparagus, however, if he takes his neder from asparagus, mutar b'krov, then other species of cabbage are mutar to him. Grisim, if he asks himself from grisim is barley. It's barley. It's kind of a barley pottage, I think, a barley stew. Asumina mikvah. The mikvah is the pottage. That's where he makes a porridge out of it. So the
grits. They call it grits porridge.
Right.
Grits pottage. Right.
So that's still considered inside the klal. But Rabbi Yossi matir. But Rabbi Yossi says no, it's a different category. In a mikvah, mutar b'grisim. But everyone agrees that if he just swears off the porridge, he's still mutar on the individual ingredients. Mina mikvah, also, if he takes a neder from the porridge, asur b'shum, he's asur to have garlic. That I don't think is a category. That's talking about the garlic that was put into the pottage, and he took it out. So So once the garlic has been put in and cooked in the porridge, and you pull it out, it's no longer. I think the idea is that it's no longer called garlic. It's now part of the porridge, and therefore he's acid habit. But Rabbi Yossi matir, but Rabbi Yossi says no, it still keeps its individual identity. Minashum, if he takes a neder from garlic, whatever mikvah, then he's nonetheless allowed to have the cooked dish that contains garlic. For the same reason we said before, if he takes a neder from wine, he's allowed to have a dish that had wine cooked in it, because that's no longer called wine. He can't put the wine in himself, but if somebody else did, it's still mutter to him. Mina adashin, lentils, asub ashishin. So ashishin is considered a subspecies of lentils, and Rabbi Yossi says no, it's not. Mina ashishim, from the subspecies, mutar b'adashin, is still permitted to have the lentils. Chita chitim she'eni to'en. Now, when he uses this double lashon, we saw this before with dag dagim. Now we're seeing with chita chitim that he's not allowed to have. he is not allowed to have any form of wheat, whether kemach, whether bread, whether it's flour or bread. Okay, grease in she'eni to'em, and the same thing with barley. Asur bahen, he's not allowed to have them bein chayim bein mevushalim, whether they're raw or cooked. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, kodam grease or chita she'eni to'em. If he just uses a single lashon, says Rabbi Yehuda, if he just says, I will not have the barley or the wheat, right? What is he? He's mutar lakos chayim. He is allowed to chew them raw.
Right. Okay.
Why? Because the normal thing that is that they ground up and used as flour and made into bread or whatever else, and that would be answered to him. So when we say if a person in modern parlance, we say if somebody swore off wheat, that means all wheat products. But if you actually gave him, when you went to the health food store and bought a bag full of actual wheat kernels, he'd be allowed to chew that. Okay.
Because it's not made into a product yet, or
because in Nedarim we go by what do people mean when they say it. What do you think about when you think about wheat? When you think about wheat, you're thinking about the flour and the bread.
Right. But you don't think about the kernels, right?
About the kernels. That's not a common way of eating wheat. So if somebody had taken an neder from it, then those, so it's ironic that it itself would be mutar, but the products would be answer. And we saw that before with the chachamim. We remember that Mishna we saw today with a three-way machlokes, where we were talking about what was the sitvanios, the autumn grapes.
Right.
Squares of autumn grapes. That's talking about the vinegar, right? That's what
right. Yeah.
That's talking about the vinegar, not the autumn grapes themselves. And if he wants to eat the autumn grapes themselves, that he's allowed.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, there's a comment here that it says, it's in parentheses, it just says, as far as the asparagus, though the vegetable asparagus is included in the same general classification as cabbage, it does not seem that it could be considered a species of the latter. So we therefore left the asparagus untranslated.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly. That was exactly why I said it's not asparagus.
Okay, we are on to Gimel tests.
Yes.
One who makes a neder prohibiting the Yelodim is permitted to benefit from those who are to be born. If Nelodim, he is forbidden to benefit from those already born. Rabbi Meir permits benefit even from those already born, and it could come and say, however, say this person referred to only that to which bears offspring. And you said last time that the Yelodim and the Nolim are really like the same.
Yeah, it's a thing. People who are going to, it's actually the reverse of what it would be used for in the Torah.
Right. Yud. One who makes a neder prohibiting those who rest on Shabbos is forbidden to benefit from Jews and forbidden to benefit from Kosutins. Those who eat garlic, he is forbidden to benefit from Jews and forbidden to benefit from Kosutins. The pilgrims to Jerusalem, he is forbidden to benefit from Jews and permitted to benefit from Kuthians. I can never say that. I don't know. If one says, Konan, what I benefit from the descendants of Noah, he is permitted to benefit from Jews, but is forbidden to benefit from Gentiles. Konan, what I benefit from the progeny of Abraham, he is forbidden to benefit from Jews, but he is permitted to benefit from Gentiles. Konan, what I benefit from Jews, he must buy for more and sell for less. Konan, what Jews benefit from me, he must buy for less and sell for more if they listen to him. Konan, what I benefit from them and they from me, he may benefit Gentiles. If he says, Konan, what I benefit from the uncircumcised, he is permitted to benefit from uncircumcised Jews, but forbidden to benefit from circumcised Gentiles. Kohanam, what I benefit from the circumcised, he is forbidden to benefit from uncircumcised Jews, but is permitted to benefit from circumcised Gentiles. For the term Orla is used only as a general name for Gentiles, that is said, that all the nations are uncircumcised, and the whole house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart. And if it says, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be, and it says, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised be jubilant. Elazar ben Azariah says, detestable is the form of skin, for with it is the wicked are disparaged, as it is says, for all the nations are uncircumcised. Rabbi Yishmael says, great is circumcision for concerning it 13 covenants were made. Rabbi Yossi says, great is circumcision which overrides the strict Sabbath. Rabbi Yeshua ben Korcha says, great is circumcision for concerning it even Moses, the righteous one, was not spared for 1 hour. Nehemiah the Great says it is circumcision which overrides the Gayim. Rebbe says, great is circumcision for this, despite all the precepts which our forefathers Abraham fulfilled, he was not called complete until he circumcised himself. As it says, walk before me and be perfect. Another thing, great is circumcision, for if not for the Holy One, blessed is he, who would not have created his world, as it says, so says Hashem, if not for my covenant day and night, the laws of heaven and earth I would not have put in place.
Okay, okay, that was a nice long one. Kesubos Daled Yud.
If he did not write for her, sons that you will have from me, they will inherit the money of your ketubah above, and they share with him. And brothers, he is nevertheless liable, since a condition established by the court. If he did not write, daughters that you will have from me shall live in my house and be supported from my property until they are married, he is nevertheless liable, since it is a condition established by the court. If he did not write, you shall live in my house and be supported from my property all the days of the duration of your widowhood in my house, he is nevertheless liable, since it is a condition established by the court. In this manner, the people of Yerushalayim used to write. The people of Galil used to write like the people of Yerushalayim, and the people of Judah used to write like until the heirs wish to give you your ketubah. Therefore, if the heirs are so desired, they may give her a ketubah and dismiss her. Okay, we are in base Daled. After the first, he says, he who answered Avram on Mount Moriah, he will answer you and hearken to the sound of your cry this day. Blessed are you, Hashem, who redeems Israel. After the second, he says, he who answered our forefathers at the Sea of Reeds, he shall answer you and hearken to the sound of your cry this day. Blessed are you, Hashem, who remembers the forgotten. And after the third, he says, he who answered Yeshua in Gilgal, he shall answer you and hearken to the sound of your cry this day. Blessed are you, Hashem, who hearkens to the sounding of the shofar. After the fourth, he says, he who answered Shmuel in Mitzpah, he shall answer you and hearken to the sound of your cry this day. Blessed are you, Hashem, who hearkens a cry. For the fifth, he says, who answered Elijah on Mount Carmel, he will answer you this day and hearken to the sound of your cry this day. Blessed are you, Hashem, who hearkens so to prayer. And after the sixth, he says, who answered Jonah from the fish's belly, he shall answer you and hearken to the sound of your cry this day. Blessed are you, Hashem, who answers in a time of distress. After the seventh, he says, he who answered David and his son Shmuel in Yerushalayim, he shall answer you and hearken to the sound of your cry this day. Blessed are you, Hashem, who has mercy on the land. Okay, and we have one more. Sorry, skip that.
Yeah.
All right, okay. It happened in the days of Reb Kalafta and Reb Kananya ben Tradia that one went before the ark and completed the entire blessing, but they did not respond amen after the blessing. Sound the tekiah, O Kohanim, sound the tekiah. He who answered the father Avram on Mount Moriah, he shall answer you and hearken to the sound of your cry this day. Sound the teruah, the sons of Aaron, sound the teruah, and he who answered our forefathers at the Red Sea, he shall answer you and hearken to the sound of your cry this day. When the matter came before the Chachamim, they said such and such was not our custom except at the Eastern Gate and on the Temple Mount. On the first 3 fast days, the Kohanim of the Mishmar fast, but do not complete their fast. The Kohanim of the Beis Av do not fast at all. Go on the second 3 fast days. The Kohanim of the Mishmar fast and complete their fast. The Kohanim of the Beis Av fast, but do not complete their fast. On the last 7 fast days, both groups fast and complete their fast, and this is the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua. But the Kohanim say on the first 3 fast days, neither group fasts at all. On the second 3 fast days, the Kohanim of the Mishmar fast, but do not complete their fast, and the Kohanim of the Beis Av do not fast at all. And on the last 7 fast days, the Kohanim of the Mishmar fast, complete their fast, and the Kohanim of the Beis Av fast, but do not complete their fast.
Okay.
Lisa Shaney. Mr. Shani, Dalav Hay. He,
above.
no, Dalav Vav. If he drew from him Meiser for a seller, and before him a dream, its price stood at 2 sellers. If he gives him a seller and profits by 1 seller, and the Meiser Sheni is his. If he drew from him Meiser Sheni for 2 sellers, and before he could redeem it, his price stood at 1 seller, he gives him a seller from Hulin and a seller from his Meiser Sheni. And if he was an Amaretz, he gives him from Demai. If one redeemed Meiser Sheni but did not designate it, Rabbi Yossi says it suffices. But Rabbi Yehuda says he must specify. If one was speaking to a woman about her divorce or a betrothal and gave her a bill of divorce or give a gift of betrothal without specifying, Rabbi Yossi says it suffices, and Rabbi Yehuda says he must specify. If one set aside an issa, on the account thereof he ate half of it and went to another place where he was worth a punyan, he may on the account of it eat for another issa. If one set aside a punyan on the account thereof, but he ate half of it and went to another place where it was worth 1 issa, he may on the account of it eat for another half. If one set aside an issa of Meiser Sheni, he may on the account of it eat for 11th part of the issa and for 100th of an issa. Beit Shammai says throughout 10, and Beis Hillel says in case of certain 11, and in case of Demai 10. Okay. Is that right? Let me see what I put here. Okay. All right. That's Nagayim.
Yeah.
Nagayim. There are 24 extremities on the body that do not become tummy because of mikya. The tips of the fingers and the toes, the tips of the ears, the tips of the nose, the tip of the body, and a woman's nipples. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda says a man's nipples as well. Rabbi Eliezer says also warts and hanging skin do not become tummy because of mikya. These are the parts of the body that do not become tummy because of baharas. Inside the eye, inside the ear, inside the nose, inside the mouth, in folds of skin and in folds of skin on the neck. Only under the breast, the armpit, the sole of the foot, the nail, the head, and the beard, and a raw boil, burn, burn, or wound, literally a boil or burn, or a wound that are rebellious. The above mentioned parts of the body do not become tummy because of the gayam, nor do they combine with the gayam, nor does a mega spread onto them, nor do they become tummy because of mikya, nor do they prevent him from having the status of returning completely white. If the head or beard became bald, or if the boil, burn, or wound developed a scab, they became tummy because of nagayim, but they are not combined with nagayim, and the nega cannot spread onto them, and they do not become tummy because of the mikya, but they prevent the status of someone who turns completely white. The head and the beard before they have grown hair, and the hanging skin on the head and on the beard are judged like skins of the body. The following are baharas that are tahor, baharas that a person had before the Torah was given, that were on a Gentile who converted, or a newborn child, or a fold of skin that became revealed, on the head or on the beard or on a raw boil, burn, or wound, literally a boil, a wound, or a wound on the rebellious ones. If the head or the beard became bald, or the boil, the burn, or the wound partially healed, they are tahor. A nega appeared on the head or the beard before they grew hair. Then they grew hair, and it subsequently became bald, and a boil or burn or wound that did not scab, then a scab formed, and the boil, burn, or wound healed. If Eliah ben Yaakov renders these places tummy since they began and ended as tummy, but the common rendered them tahor. Their appearance changed either leniently or stringently. That was it? Okay.
That was 3.
All right.
And now we're into Abos Daled Aleph.
Ben Zomer says, one who is wise, will he who learns from every person, as it is said, from all my teachers I grew wise. For your testimonies are my conversation. Who is strong? He who subdues his personal inclination, as it is said, he who is slow to anger is better than a strong man, and a master of his passions is better than a conqueror of a city. Who is rich? He who is happy with his lot, as it is said, when you eat the labor of your hands, you are praiseworthy, and all is well with you. You are praiseworthy in this world, and all is well with you in the world to come. Who is honored? He who honors others, as it is said, for those who honor me, I will honor, and those who scorn me, I will be degraded, shall be degraded. Ben Azai says, run to perform even a minor mitzvah and flee from sin. One mitzvah leads to another mitzvah, and one sin leads to another sin. For the reward of mitzvah is a mitzvah, and the punishment of a sin is a sin. He used to say, do not be scornful of any person, and do not discard anything. You have no person without his hour, and you have no thing without its place.
Well, there's things that don't have their place. So if we don't discard things, then we're like hoarding all of our stuff in the house. You know,
Right, yeah.
finally, where's the place for this one?
I've been there and done that. So
Okay, I've got to run.
have a great day. I'll see you at the gym tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.